All right, welcome to episode number 2 of the Sales Lab podcast. We are joined by, I feel like you are like almost like my childhood like idol at the moment. Like I've literally like watched your journey like from, I don't know if you were nothing before, but I can't remember when I started following you. You probably had like half the followers that you have on LinkedIn now. And now I just literally can't stop seeing your face, but also the ColdIQ team just seems to be harassing my LinkedIn feed, like with posts. And I know that you've incentivized everyone now. There's like $1,000 or euro or something on who gets the most engagement on the posts. So yeah, all I do is see ColdIQ. But dude, I'm super stoked to have you on the pod today. So thanks for joining.
Thanks, Max. I'm actually super excited because, to your point, I remember around 1 year ago, I was looking at all the top guys, and I remember that I thought you were doing the most crazy things. So you know how you have the usual suspects, you have Eric, you have Jesse, then there was you, and I think they both still do have a bigger following than you did. But I was really looking at your videos because I just thought, okay, this thing is crazy. If we manage to, like just do this, then we'll just get some crazy results for our clients. And
Yeah.
always, I think that something maybe that's playing against you is that sometimes you might be almost too good in the sense that the quality of the content is so high that it's only like the geeks of outbound that get it. And because of this, maybe you don't get as many impressions as you
Yeah.
deserve. And so to me, like what I'm trying to achieve is really delivering half of the value you deliver, but making sure that everybody can understand it. And that might be the reason why you might have seen me more than double, I think I would say triple the number of followers
Yeah.
I've had in the span of less than a year, and my team has been doing the same. So Alex, also you see him all the time on LinkedIn, and the rest of the team is here. And I think what we want is we want each team member from the moment they join, within a year, we want them to have 5-figure followers. So we'll see if we can make that happen, but I think that we will be
Nice.
able to do so.
Nice. Well, before we dive into the crux of it, which is kind of your passion, I do actually have a couple of questions which I just wanted to ask because I'm curious. Like one, like when I've scaled teams like in the past, typically it was never kind of company centric. It was obviously more sales focused, which is my background before I started Triggerfy. Um, Getting people to post on LinkedIn was it's just so hard because people just get like brain fog and writer's block or whatever. Whereas you and ColdIQ have somehow like managed to crack that nut because they're all posting. Now, how on earth are you finding people that are like open to that, or are you kind of like creating an environment, a culture? Like how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. So funny enough, what you are describing with trying to have people publish is an issue I had at my previous company. So I was working as a growth, and I was trying to have a team of engineers publish on LinkedIn. So anyways, I was on the Slack trying to have everybody come up with some ideas, and then nobody wanted to do so. So I was like, okay, nobody gives a shit about the marketer trying to have engineers publish. But then I just knew like there was some insane value in within posting. I just had the intuition, and then I started doing it. And I guess I was right in the sense that we've been getting some crazy inbound. But I think the biggest issue is that it just takes time to be consistent at posting, and very often you don't know what to publish. And so like there are a lot of misconceptions around consistent posting. That the first one being, if either someone or you have published something in the past, then it's not worth posting at all. Like this is the first thing we do and we say to our team members is we tell them, hey guys, just look at the post we've made and don't hesitate to almost copy paste what you see works. Because obviously we're not gonna be shouting at you for copy pasting. It's like we want you to
Because
make
you've
that
had that a
decision.
few times as well. I've seen from other people copying and pasting the ColdIQ's work. I've
Yeah,
seen that. Yeah.
yeah. So this for this one I was not happy, especially because I didn't get any attribution. It's like if you want to replicate what I publish, I have no issue with that, but just tag me. But for the team, though, it's different, right? Because all the traffic generates comes back to us somehow. And so, like, this is the first thing I'd say. It's like for topic IDs, they have a proven sets of, publications they can do. And I guess this is the first issue is you see a lot of companies trying to have their team members post, but the leadership is not posting. And I think this kind of stuff needs to come from above. Because if you're not showing the example, how are you gonna be publishing? And so, for example, you mentioned the challenge we're making, where someone is gonna win 1,000 euros, the person who publishes the most. And we are posting, Alex and I, every day we've been posting since we've done the challenge, because I just want to show that even though I wouldn't win the prize, that I'm here and I'm not asking the team to do something that I wouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And then I would say the second challenge is really the visuals. So something we see with LinkedIn is that sometimes what you show is more important than that's what you write. And so lots of people, especially like this is a trap that smart people fall into, is just look at the content, you read it, and then you think, I can do better content. But if you look at the top creators, very often you see that they are not the ones that have the most complex or groundbreaking content. Somehow they are able to consistently post something that's valuable enough for their audience to keep engaging with them. And so something I'm seeing is if you have good visuals, then you will be boosting your impressions, I think I would say like 2 to 3 times. So for example, we have made some infographics, and I know in advance that if I post an infographic and I manage to write 3 to 4 lines of text, whatever it is, because of the infographic, it will catch the eye of the visitor, it will make them stop, and then I will get at least 150 likes on this one, which will mean at least like 10 to 15K impressions on this publication. And so what we've done now is that we have a designer in the house who is in charge of making some nice graphics for everyone. So anytime someone has an idea for a publication, they can just ask our designer to make it look pretty. And because of the looking pretty feel, then like I'd say they get 3 times the impressions they would get.
Yeah.
So like this is the biggest thing, is it just takes so much time, but it adds so much. And if you look at your LinkedIn feed, everything is ugly. So every time there's something beautiful, people will want to stop on it.
Love it. And are you like, I'm notoriously bad, right? Like, I mean, I post, I don't know, 4 times a week, typically, maybe 5. So more or less pretty much every day. But I come up with the content on the day, post on the day. And that includes like when you probably first came across me, I think I was doing a video every day, doing a new automation every day for around close to 6 months. That was a fuck ton of videos and automations that I was doing, and it just drained my time. So are you guys like working ahead? Are you doing like a month's calendar? We're really off topic here, but I'm just curious because you guys are the masters at content.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember seeing your videos, and you know what? I was trying to look at all these videos, and so I was bookmarking them day after day, because imagine you are scrolling your LinkedIn feeds, you have 2 minutes. So you have 2 minutes maybe to watch a carousel, to watch like a very short video, or to just read a block of text, but you don't have 20 minutes to look at a complicated workflow. And so I was trying to open them up in some new window and then try, but then I couldn't keep up with just watching, just because of how busy I was. And so a lot of these videos I bookmarked, I opened new tabs, and I never got to watch them, because at some point I had probably like 15, 20 tabs open on my computer, and I just said,
Yeah.
I just can't. And
Yeah.
maybe that's the issue with, and the reason why those videos didn't perform that well, is the fact that they were like a bit too long probably, and you would have probably have gotten better results by doing one of these one time, and then the other ones would just be like way shorter, so that people would think, okay, this is the one I have to watch, so I just have this one to watch, and this is gonna be a banger, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Nice.
In terms of content creation, I used to, because I think it's very personal, in the sense that, but now in the team, everybody replicated my LinkedIn content and ideation templates. But what I used to do is that I just realized that I would have an idea for a post. So every time I would have an idea, I would just note it down on my Apple Notes. And then once I had some free time, I would just go back to my ideas, and then I would just write a draft. And then I would finally like do my finished post, which meant that if I come up today and I'm thinking I have to do my post for the day, I have a lot of ideas and a lot of drafts, and so I need to use one of these drafts and make it clean, and then I can publish it. But then now, as I just did that more and more and more, I just realized that what was taking me most of the time was deciding in the first place what I wanted to publish, what I wanted to post about. And so beginning of this month, because the challenge that we need to be posting every day for the whole quarter, the weekend right before the 1st of April, I think 1st of April was a Monday. So on this weekend, I just did my calendar for the month and a half. And the way the calendar looks like, I would actually show the calendar.
We're getting the share, are we?
You're getting it. You're getting it.
There we go.
It's a Notion calendar.
Oh, nice.
Pretty simple. Like this is my LinkedIn content calendar right here. So you see, I have like each of these is like an ID for a publication. And so, for example, here, like this is just like an idea, and there is some drafts. But anyways, like I think like the post of the day, so in advance, will be about the Smart Lead event, because Thursday we are talking live within Smart Lead. But this is the idea, and so you see I have that for the whole month, and I think that I almost completed the next month as well. And to me, like it's you take the time, like 2 hours or 3, maybe like 4 5 hours on a week in a weekend, just have your whole calendar ready, and then you can have all of these publications done in 1 hour. But also it allows you to not be repetitive in the topics you choose, because sometimes you're going to be talking about copywriting, sometimes about sales tools, sometimes showing some workflows. So it's like here I can space it. There is a different flavor for each day of the week.
Yeah, amazing, love it. That's super interesting. All right. Well, obviously, the theme of the podcast is get the best growth gurus, should we say, onto the podcast, and ask them to pick their like most favorite topic area, anything kind of go to market related. I'm not fussy, and show the people how to kind of execute this kind of world-class strategy, ideally under $200. Now I know you were a little bit nervous about the under the $200 part, but I guess I'm curious. I would love to know, firstly, like what are you gonna chat about today, and then B, did you manage to get us down under 200, or are we a little bit over?
No, actually, because I have two main topics, and I think like it's related to what we just discussed. Is because my two favorite topics are sales tech, outbound tools. I mean, we are just like sharing all of these tools on the website. And my second favorite topic is, outbound. So really the interactions between content and outbound. And so my issue is that with sales tech, I can go over 200 very easily. But that said, what I can do is I can describe, some of the sales tech I would use to create a pretty good all-bound strategy. Nice. And I guess we would be able to be below 200.
Let's do it. I guess because you probably have like the biggest brain when it comes to all the tech out there. Question number one that I would have is like, let's say I started up Triggerfy. I've got no tech, no tools. How do you even start piecing, like there are so many things out there. Like where do you start? What's the priority? What tools do you start with, and how do you evaluate? Like, what do you typically do when you're looking at these things?
Yeah, I mean, you're just starting a new business. You have no online presence. So I think the first thing you will want to do will be outbound, right? You just want to get some rapid feedback. That said, if you're just starting with a business, you don't have a big budget as well, which brings us to this conversation of having the sales tech below 200.
Yeah.
And I think I know about sales tech is that most SaaS are pretty smart about the way of acquiring customers, which means that you will be able to try most of the tools for 14 days at least for free. And so I'm thinking about it in the lenses of you need data, you need data, and you need to send the messages, and then you want those messages to somehow be personalized, but that might be even a bit less important if you are clever in the way you do your outreach campaigns. And so I guess the first thing I would do would be to try to get a free membership to either Apollo or SalesNav. That said, I guess that I would do Apollo first, because what you'll get is you'll get their whole database. And here's the trick is if you get Apollo's database, you can get for free access to their search filters. And if you plug some tool like Instant Data Scraper, you can actually extract first name, LinkedIn profile, company name, website, and so on for free from Apollo.
Nice.
So if you have this, then you can use this data to enrich email addresses from an email finder that's less pricey than like the price you'd pay to Apollo. And so, for example, in this case, something I do is I would use something like Prospeo. I also know Jesse from Lead Magic has a lot of email finding, email validation thingy that are very low priced. So this is something to look into. I'm just not sure how people can access them. Like, do they need to go to the SaaS Yacht Club? But anyways, let's go to the Prospeo. Yes, I would enrich the email addresses with Prospeo, and then I would have a list of email addresses based on some initial Apollo search. So I think this is a good starting point, because you could decide to just manually reach out to all of the people within your list that you would have gotten at a very low price, because you'd have been able to get some free email addresses from Apollo, some free ones from Prospeo by enriching the data. But even if you have all of these, I think it makes sense to increase the spend a little bit to automate this messaging. So here, and this is where I would use either Smart Leads if I were doing some email outreach, or HeyReach if I was doing some LinkedIn outreach. So in both cases, I think Smart Lead entry plan is 37 per month, which means that you should be able to reach out to at least 6,000 people for 37 per month. I guess if you're just starting, it's a good amount of volume to get some feedback. For HeyReach, they have some very interesting pricing plans, in the sense that you can scale the number of LinkedIn profiles you use. That said, like the entry plan is around 79 per month. But with this, you have one account, and then you can automate the LinkedIn outreach. So I guess probably I would start with the email, because we found some emails from the first providers.
Yeah.
And then here I would try to make an approach that's somehow valuable, in the sense that because people don't know you and you don't have that big of a presence, you need to generate some trust around what you do. And for example, one of the best campaigns we ran for ourselves were to make a great guide about how to do prospecting in a specific niche. And then we just went and found all of those people within this niche and proposed for them to have a read through the guide. And then the second, I think the follow-up was that we built a list for them, thinking about their target. So, for example, with recruitment, because recruitment companies, their first idea will be to find some companies hiring somehow, or like a need of hiring. We just tell them, hey, we have like this massive list of companies, and we enrich the email addresses from the talent acquisition directors in companies that have 10 plus open jobs. Do you want it? And usually they'll say, oh, it's interesting, but can you do this custom list for me? And it opens up the conversation. So if you like take all of this, in summary, you have Apollo that I think you can manage to get for free. You use Instant Data Scraper, that's completely free. You pay for a low plan with Prospeo. I think like it starts around 30 something per month, and then you get like an entry plan for Smartly that's going to be 37 per month. you buy a few Google mailboxes, and I think you can even get away with less than 100 per month on your stack.
There we go. Nice. I like that. Apollo, Instant Data Scraper, which by the way is like the OG of scraping tools. Love it. Prospero, and then Smart Lead, all hooked up. That's awesome. What about like validation? Does Prospero do the validating as well?
Yeah, so they have an email validation from within.
Okay.
The thing with Prospero is that because some providers I trust more than others in terms of just double checking their data. For example, there is those new email finding platforms that say, "Hey guys, now you won't even need to validate because we will only provide you those validated email addresses." And so with Prospero, what I find is that even if it's a catch-all or a valid email, we have like very low bounce rates. And so if I get the data straight from Apollo, I will validate it with debounce. But if it comes from Prospero, I don't validate it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's look at that like campaign, right? I think it is literally, you're right. I think that's definitely under $100, and you could probably reach out to what he said is 6,000 is the limit on Smart Lead. So it's got a huge volume for like cost per lead is basically next to nothing for that. I reckon one of the questions will be like, okay, but how do I personalize? Because you're basically just doing a mass scrape off a static list. I'm assuming your kind of personalization that you mentioned there was where you created that lead magnet around like how you prospect within the certain niche, which I think you mentioned was recruitment. Is that the way to go? Do you personalize via providing value as opposed to like showing how much you know on the company? Because at this point, we're not using tools like Clay or other tools out there, which allows us to go deep into it. So I guess the personalization perhaps is coming from the value that you provide and your knowledge of the industry, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so there's either you do it this way, so it's just gonna be the value, and then you hope that people will have had gotten enough value to not be angry at you for not personalizing, or you want to use, like those tools like you described. It's like the issue obviously is that if you want to keep it under 200 per month, as soon as you use Clay and you have a plan that has API access, I think you're at 349 per month. So like Clay is out already. So what I would do is, and there is this tool called Cargo, like Get Cargo, something like this, and they have this free extension that lets you plug your OpenAI key, and from like some Google Sheets, you can just create some prompt and create some icebreakers. So if you really want to personalize without adding any cost, then it's a bit of a custom build, but it's not that difficult to implement. You can have all your data that you enrich from Prospero and Apollo, have the Cargo extension, look at their templates for icebreakers or whatever AI templates you want to look for. Then it will just cost you a few OpenAI credits, which doesn't amount to too much money to use the GPT 3.5 model.
Yeah.
And then you have some personalization, and then you'll be able to download this Google Sheet and import it straight to Smart Lead.
Nice. Yeah, because then you can start to use AI inside of that lead list to give you some personalization and some relevancy, I guess. And then combine it with the lead magnet that you kind of mentioned. How do you deliver that? Like you mentioned that you give them like a brief on like prospecting within their sector. Like how do you send that? Are you using a tool for sending that, or using a Notion, or?
So either you can put it in Notion. For us, we put it on our website.
Okay.
Because I want to know who's visiting my website, because I'm identifying my visitors. I mean, the ones in the US. But I guess because we still need to make it cost effective, I would put it inside of Notion, and then like the copy would just be if they wanna get the guides, and then just you make a subsequence within Smart Lead so that every person that says, "Hey, yes, I want to get the guide," and just tag them as some guide request, which will automatically triggers automatically trigger the subsequence that sends the guide and follow up with them a few times automatically.
Nice, nice. Okay. And we're still, even with Cargo, it's free, Chrome extension on Google Sheets. We're still free. We're still under $100, I would have thought. So like, where do we go next? What tool? And let's say we can break over the 200. What would you say is your next crucial part? Do you go down that personalization route? So do you look for something like a Clay, or are you going somewhere else around data quality? Like, where should the focus point be for that sales enablement person, AE, SDR, who's building out their own tech? Because let's face it, most of these companies don't want to give them the good tech these days. So they're building it out themselves. What do they need to think about next?
Yeah, I mean, to me, there are two routes you can go because somehow the file you would get in the campaign would be fully personalized, plus you're providing value. So it's pretty good already. We still manage to keep the cost low. That said, uh, either I would try to have some better context around why I'm reaching out to whoever I'm reaching out to. I guess this is where triggers come in. This is where you are the king of triggers with Trigify. So, because like how much does it cost Trigify right now? Like, do you have open pricing on
Yeah,
it?
we got open pricing. Yeah. Starting at $185. So we're scraping under. We're
Yeah.
actually thinking about launching a $99 package as well. So that might come out in the coming weeks.
Okay.
Which means it would work in this tech stack that you're thinking of if we did that one. Um,
So here's the summary: is if Trigify by the time this podcast is published is at 185, it doesn't work for the sake of, for example, if it's a 99, it's a valuable option because I guess that with what we discussed before, we were at around 100, so we'll just be at 200
yeah, we'll have
perfectly.
$1 to spare.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that it adds a lot because if you can have a trigger personalization to your message, it's like super effective. It's really just saying, hey, I'm reaching out to you because I saw that you were, like launching this product, that you were hiring. I come up like with the pitch, which is like this pitch providing some value. And in the PS line, because of the free cargo extension, I can have some nice personalization about the LinkedIn profile of whoever I'm reaching out to. So like
Yeah.
it gets pretty advanced and you didn't have to pay that much if Max is nice enough to lower the price of Trigified for this $99 per month plan. That said, if you didn't want to lower your pricing, then I'd suggest that people just try some other channel. So for example, with the example we mentioned smart leads, so it would be emails. And
Yeah.
I think that there is some value in reaching out via LinkedIn, especially if you don't have that much social proof. You might have social proof from your career, right? It's like your business is new, but you were a VP or a manager at a fairly decent company. And so people will trust you on whatever you are building because they know you have a good track record. And I think it's interesting. And LinkedIn is interesting in that context. And so the same campaign that you would set up within Smart Leads, you could set it up within HeyRich. And if in
Yeah.
the past you did some cool stuff, then people will be like, "Oh, this guy is great. Maybe I should look into what he's doing because he might be doing something revolutionary." And I'll know before everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, I think with Trigify is a great example because anybody who knows who's good in AI about AI in sales is looking at what you are doing. They know like whatever he ends up doing because of the workflow he was building. It's like when he says my product is ready and guys it will change the way you prospect, and everybody will trust it. And so it's like you don't have that much social proof today with Trigify because it's fairly new, like still working on the product, but you can use this social proof that you've had from being a VP of sales at other companies and sharing, like some of the craziest workflows that people have seen. And for this reason, I'd say this other channel would work
Would work
great.
well. And a lot of people talk about like, I mean, I guess it's just the circles that we're in, right? Like domain health, reputation, spam, blah, blah, blah. Gosh, it bores me sometimes. But I feel like the LinkedIn outreach never gets spoken about. And so what I'm curious on is how safe is it to automate your LinkedIn? And is it advised if you are a big, if you gather a following on LinkedIn, would it be advised to start automating that LinkedIn profile, or do you think you should play it safe and automate other profiles that you may or may not have?
Yeah, to be honest, I would never automate my own profile just because LinkedIn is a gold mine for us. And so if at some point LinkedIn wants to ban me, I want to tell them, guys, I've never used any automation tool whatsoever. I'm just like, you've been too good to me, so I never dared breaking the rules. And so I think if you want to do any kind of LinkedIn automation, if you have 5K followers or more, and also that it's bringing inbound leads, I wouldn't even take the risk. And I think that 99% of people on LinkedIn are not even posting. So it's like you might as well use your profile. And here there are two routes. First one is you use your own profile because you're not getting some inbound, so it's safe. You leverage the profiles of people within your team so you can have more profiles, which will mean you will be able to scale and do more volume. Just because of the fact that with LinkedIn, you're pretty limited in the number of invites you can make and the number of messages you can send. And the last one is you would use a third-party service like Mirror Profiles. And some guys, businesses, is just creating some and warming up some LinkedIn profiles that they'll get banned if you were to use them for outreach. And so you can brand these profiles under your company branding, and then just reach out on behalf of these profiles. And then once someone is willing to book a meeting, you say, hey, okay, this is gonna be with my CEO, or it's gonna be with my head of sales or whoever it is. And so this is the way we are doing it, because I don't want to be using my own profile.
I'm the same. It's LinkedIn. It's too good to me as well, and the thought is scary.
Yeah, it's too scary. Actually, Alex had his profile blocked. So Alex Baca, COO of ColdIQ, I think at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Without even automating, but just for responding to too many DMs. So he made a publication that was something like comment and like, and I will send it to you. And so he was trying to send the resource to the hundreds of people who commented on the publication. Like his profile disappears, and it became whiter than he usually is, just because his profile had been going crazy. I think for a second he was afraid that the music had stopped.
Yeah.
So yes, So seeing that, I was like, okay, if you
Don't do
don't,
it. I've had that happen to me. I've been blocked as well. Mine was I posted a job ad, and they thought, because I hadn't posted a job ad in so long, they thought someone had hacked my account, and they just lock you out, and then they spend like a good week to 2 weeks to get you back in. It's a nightmare. And I kid you not, I just felt like those 2 weeks were just like the worst 2 weeks of my life. I was just like, this is horrendous. And especially when you're like mid conversation with trying to close people, and they're like, you've gone. They're like, that looks really sus. Like you vanished off the face of the planet. Like, is this like a scam or something? You're like, no.
Yeah, 100%, because LinkedIn is so underrated when it comes to closing deals. It's like something, because obviously what you want to do with LinkedIn is you want to attract inbound, and then you are talking with people. But then every time I have a meeting with someone, I'm gonna add them to LinkedIn, and then they see me every day posting, and they see I get hundreds of likes on the publication, and maybe like it activates this, this FOMO, or they're like, oh, like this guy seems to have like so many people wanting to work with him. I need to sign this contract quick, otherwise maybe he won't have the capacity to take me on. And so this is something I noticed is I had been pretty inconsistent in the very beginning of 2024, end of 2023, and I came back because I was in Bali, I was in Asia for the winter, so maybe this was the reason why.
There we go. That's the little clang there. It's in Bali for the winter. That's it, folks. That's what success looks like.
And actually, I don't advise people to do it because business was slow. As soon as I came back to Europe, just went way faster. Time zones are a nightmare for US clients, especially from Asia.
Yeah.
But my point though is that I started posting again, and then like the leads, the deal just like started closing and closing and closing. And I assume that some of your prospects, like they have like a higher perception of you just because of the fact that they see you and they continually see you and being validated by a
Mm.
lot of people on the platform. And so
Yeah.
you want to keep your LinkedIn profile not just for the inbound, but also for the closing.
For the closing, right? Yeah, the validation, it's the social proof. Like this person knows what they're on about, and they can see like your history, not in terms of work experience, like your posts. I think that is more validating these days than kind of just a title that anyone can make up on their LinkedIn. But awesome, man. I guess like a couple more questions before we wrap it up here. Like ColdIQ, love what you guys are doing. To be honest, I was even chatting with my CEO the other day, thinking like, oh, I wonder if we should use an agency to like put a bit of a steroid injection into the growth. And we were chatting about you guys, but what what is the long term vision of ColdIQ? Like, where are you guys going? Because you're obviously doubling down so hard on the content. The website as well is like a really interesting play. I kind of like sniff in the air, like, are they going to stay a lead gen? Is something going to happen? Are they going to like start to morph into something else? Maybe I read into things too much. What's the long-term vision for ColdIQ?
Yeah. So the long-term vision is we want to be building a G2 for sales slash MakerPad for sales. Now, I think that those software comparison websites, they are pretty good in the sense that you can see what your peers think about whatever tool. But I feel the biggest issue with sales SaaS, I mean, like with SaaS in general, but because we're talking about sales SaaS, is that usually the SaaS founders make a pretty bad job at showing how their tools can be leveraged for sales. So I guess you
Yeah.
have some great engineers building a tool, but then they are not that skilled at sales. And so now it's time to show what to or how to use the tool. And what they will do is they will show the features. And like here's how you can send that many emails, and here's that how you can warm up this thing. And they're just showing a feature, but in practice, you never see how it's used within campaigns. And I feel like the reason why some of our content was that successful is because we bridged the gap. For a lot
Mm.
of these SaaS, we made some better content on how you can leverage their tools than they do themselves because we are leveraging their tools to generate revenue for our clients. And so we want to do something where, in addition to be the platform for you to find out about the best tools before anyone else, will also be the platform where you can learn how you can leverage the tools. So what we are building right now is we're having individual pages being built for like each tool. Each will have some tutorial, and then we'll have like plenty of tutorials where you can just look at videos. And this is how you make this purchasing decision. Because
Mm.
in addition to knowing that people like the tool, you know that the tool fixes or like does what you want it to do because you're able to see it being played out. So this is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. G2X MakerPad of sales. But about the agency, we want to keep the agency because what I feel is the reason why we've been able to find out which tools were actually the best ones is because we can test these pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If I start using Trigify or Clay or whatever tool, and I deploy these to 20 clients, and with my 20 clients, it just improves the results, say by 20-25%. I can already tell everyone, guys, you can try this thing in 10 different industries across 15 different offers, and this just works. And so I feel like those two offers, even though it was not usually the plan, I intertwined. It's us having a lead gen agency means that we are very when you say like you can trust us in
Yeah.
terms of tool recommendation because we're not just looking at all the tools and saying, hey, this tool looks cool, just right. We're saying this tool looks cool. We tried it and it works. So I advise you to use it. And at the same time, because we are looking at tools and somehow monetizing our use of tools, we are always looking at what's out there. And so we are pretty fast to see those new technologies. You know, for example, I think that back in the days with Clay, with Clay, we are like the first.
You're the first clay makers,
Yeah,
right? This is
not the first Clay maker, but we are their number one affiliate
yeah.
because we were like pretty early at discovering the tool and then sharing the pushing the world about them. And this meant we had a huge advantage, because while our competition was doing some manual personalization or not personalizing at all, we were already able to go through a list of thousands of websites and have something personalized about them. And this would take a few minutes, and we didn't have to do some custom builds, like you used to do with those N8N workflows.
Yeah.
And so this is one thing. And then like it's it's the same with the B2B visitor identification. We're trying it, and people are not trying that much. And with Trigify is we are really waiting at when is it going to come out, because as soon as it's ready to be used, like we will want to be some of the first ones to try, because if it's a game changer for the results we can bring, we want to start using it ASAP.
Yeah, deploy it.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
agency allows you to keep your finger on the pulse on all of the moving parts in the sales tech space, essentially, rather than just being like a review site that doesn't actually like use it, and it just kind of takes it for face value. I really like that concept where you're going. I think there's like a play there for you guys to, at the moment, if we look at the channels, it's like phone, email, LinkedIn, other socials. I think how cool would it be is almost if you could create like a new form of medium for people to like review tech, speak to the people, that isn't just these things that are just been over and done with now. And I think that'd be pretty cool. But I love it, man, and thanks so much for hopping on today.
Thanks for having me.
I honestly love your content, love Alex's content. I mean, like I said at the start, the whole ColdIQ team spam my LinkedIn feed now. I shouldn't say spam. That means it's crap content. It's really good content. It's just all I see is ColdIQ. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. And the website's awesome as well. But yeah, dude, appreciate it, and speak soon.
Thanks, man. See you soon.